Gearbor presents the top 5 best telescopes. Let's get started with the list. Starting off our list at number 1, Meade Infiniti 102mm Oz. Our best budget refractor telescope is Meade Instruments Infiniti 102 Oz. Its size makes it a great travel scope and useful for vacations and camping weekends. The scope itself has the same aperture as the Celestron Omni below, but can be bought for less than half the price, which is a significant saving on the Celestron. The reason Meade can sell a similar quality beginner telescope for a much lower price is the telescope mount, which is the cheaper to make and less sturdy alt-azimuth mount. Large primary lens for the price. Simple to get started. Wider field of view. At number 2, Celestron Powerseeker 127 EQ. The best budget telescope in the reflector category is the Celestron 127 EQ Powerseeker scope. This 5-inch aperture Newtonian reflector telescope is supported by an equatorial mount and is a very, very popular telescope for beginners, which is great value for the aperture and scope. 5 inches reveals a huge number of celestial objects under a dark sky. As with any smaller scope, brighter objects in the sky work best, so the Moon, rings of Saturn and brighter objects such as Andromeda Galaxy and Orion Nebula are the ones you'll have most success with. Amazing starter price. Good for Moon and planets. Strong entry point scope. At number 3, Orion Sky Quest XT6. Like most OBS, this one has a long focal length of 1,200 mm, giving it a focal ratio of f/8. It provides easy-to-use, quality viewing for the Moon and brighter planets in our solar system, and, with its 6 inches aperture, you'll be able to see a decent amount of star clusters and fainter deep sky objects like Andromeda Galaxy. With any DOB telescope, the payoff is always light gathering power against control. This is a point-and-shoot scope. There's no fancy equatorial mount and no prospect of tracking celestial objects with a motor or using the telescope for astrophotography. Biggest aperture at price point. Simple point-and-shoot mount. Easy to use for novices. At number 4, Orion Star Max 90mm tabletop. The Orion Star Max 90mm Maksutov Cassegrain is our best telescope of the year in the budget compound category. In reality, this is a travel scope, rather than a fully fledged backyard scope. As such, it comes with a tabletop stand instead of a telescope mount, a reflex sight for finding objects, and weighs just 6.5 pounds. Small and portable. Simple to use. At number 5, Celestron Omni XLT 102mm. This refracting telescope itself is a very competent intermediate model. Lenses are decent quality, although you should expect some chromatic aberration at this price point. But owners say it doesn't disturb the viewing, and if you've never looked at planets through a scope before, you will be blown away when you see the rings of Saturn and Jupiter's bands through the Omni's 4 inches lens. The objective lens tube has a 1000mm, 39-inch, focal length, giving a focal ratio of f/9.8. This makes it a long scope but gives it the skills needed to make great work of planet watching. Great optics for planets. High standard equatorial mount. Decent value for money.